Okay, you was at Joe Rogan and them's house.
I walked past that club every single time. Did not go inside.
Oh, you didn't say
No, I saw them AR-15s. I I was like, no.
Are they in the window?
No, they're in front of the club.
Oh yeah, they have like security. They have like like retired Green Berets.
Well, they need that.
They got ICE agents at the mothership.
I don't think they got ICE agents, but they got guys that if they didn't have that gig, they might be looking at ice.gov applications. You know? But yeah, shout out to the Green Berets guarding the mothership.
We say we're the last line of defense because this is where the woke meets the wall.
We're at the wall with fucking turrets keeping out the barbarians.
We have the ear of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We tell him exactly what he wants to hear,
and we never ask him a question about being a. We're obsessed with
stand politely behind him.
I was there. We don't ask him about it, but we have his ear. You're right, Joe. We are the last bastion of free speech.
Stavros Halkias has been calling out Joe Rogan's whole Austin experiment for a while now, and what makes him different from every other comedian who's taken a swing at that scene is that Stavros actually knows these people. He's been on their podcast, he performed at the club, he watched the whole thing slowly transform into a legitimate comedy scene into whatever the it is now. The Stavros podcast debuted at number 3 on the iTunes comedy charts without a club, no political brand, no celebrity endorsements. He just put on a show and people showed up. He's in a film with Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. He just announced a second Netflix special taping in Baltimore, and he's got a Judd Apatow movie. So by all means, the man is ascending without, again, a political identity, without a comedy club with armed guards, without making every episode about who's allowed to use what bathroom. So now let's talk about the comedy mothership itself. The club has 2 showrooms. Now here's a part that everyone glosses over. These 2 rooms are named the Fat Man Room and the Little Boy Room. So yeah, Joe Rogan, this anti-establishment, anti-authority, free-thinking rebel, named the rooms after 2 nuclear weapons. I don't know, it's just weird nobody really mentions this. I don't know if it's some kind of weird, edgy bit or just a choice nobody questioned, but yeah, that's the room you're sitting in when you watch Kill Tony. Now, for the quote-unquote free speech branding, the mothership requires facial recognition at the door. Your government ID has to match your ticket. Your phone gets locked in the Yondr pouch the second you walk in, and it stays that way until you leave the showroom. The security team outside, by multiple accounts, looks like it was composed of people who would be looking at ICE job listings if this gig didn't pan out. Oh, and you can't carry a firearm, even though Texas law would normally allow concealed carry. But please, tell me more about the tyranny of woke culture. And here's the thing though, the mothership itself isn't really the problem. Yondr pouches are everywhere now. Plenty of comedians lock phones. The problem is what the scene around it became. When the mothership first opened, there was a real cross-section of people coming through. Dave Chappelle performed there, Stavros performed there, it had energy. But gradually, and Stavros has watched this happen in real time, the politics ate everything else. Rogan endorsed Trump in October 2024 on the eve of Election Day after a 3-hour podcast. Stavros has said publicly he was actually kind of shocked by that endorsement.
It is. I am actually kind of shocked that he endorsed Trump. That actually was shocking to me too. Like I know him. I didn't think that was something he would do.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's more the thing of like get people in, no shit. It would be great to have an insanely popular pop culture figure that has your politics. Duh, that would be good to have.
Tony Hinchcliffe performed a set at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally a week before the election and called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage and made jokes targeting Latinos, Black people, Jewish people, Haitian people, all in the name of free speech, right?
But that is why this happened, just because so few people can actually be good at comedy, and so it pisses them off. They think they should be famous, and this is and again, both ways. But I will say, in the last decade, it's become clear it's a lot more profitable and easy to be the right-wing comic.
Yeah, it's pathetic. I mean, it's like, careerist.
But my thing is, why are you going into the woods and shitting on black people?
Well, it goes back to what you're saying about it's a lack of meritocracy. These people are not good, and they understand that almost all these conservative figures started wanting to just be famous, and they realize they don't have the goods. No. And so then they decide, works. Oh, well, No one is catering to these, and there's a lot of them. But yeah, there's a whole type of the pure racism. Comics engaging with that. It's I'm done. Like I don't even want to discuss it with them because it's like once you engage, you're a fucking idiot. You're so stupid.
Yeah.
And it's like and this is the problem with comedy's gotten to the point people don't care about being funny. They care about being successful and being rich. Yeah. And so a lot of them see it as a smart market play.
No doubt.
There's a big market to conservatives who want to shit on immigrants and shit on trans people.
Yeah.
So why? And I don't have the jokes to just be funny. Right. So why don't I make that pivot?
Yeah.
And the same guys who were sucking Trump off, maybe they weren't huge supporters of his politics, but they saw it as an opportunity to court his fan base, and they put that over. It's so pathetic to be a freedom of speech guy and then be like, well, I support Trump. It's like, are you a fucking moron? He's talking about jailing journalists.
Then Netflix gave Hinchcliffe a deal. 3 Kill Tony specials plus a standalone hour. Announced March 2025. First special premiered April 7th, 2025, filmed at the Comedy Mothership. And Hinchcliffe, the guy who spent years ranting about how platforms like Netflix would destroy the purity of his show, released a statement calling the deal creative freedom to keep the show in its pure form. And nobody pushed back on that shit. So that's the grift that Stavros has been describing. These guys built their whole identity around being the last holdout against a censorious mainstream entertainment industry. And the second the mainstream came knocking with a check, they sprinted toward it while insisting that they were still the rebels. Now, in September 2025, Stavros had a comedian named Jordan Jensen on Stavi's World. She's less than 10 minutes into the interview when she starts in on trans material. Not halfway through, like less than 10 minutes in. And Stavros mentions that she has Austin trans brain.
Which to me is drag, in my opinion.
No.
Transvestite.
It's a slur for
yeah, but it's not transgender.
Person. Yes, it is.
If you transition fully, you're not really a trans anymore.
Okay,
you know
stop
saying it. What do you think about identifying as queer if you're just a hot woman who got a sex change in a relationship with a toxic gym rat? Do you get to say you're queer?
If you had a sex, what do you mean the sex
Women,
change?
okay, I was a man. I transitioned to be a beautiful woman. I'm killing it, and I still identify as queer.
I mean, I think being trans, I mean, we're in a society where, I think, unfortunately, society dictates that a little bit. And I think
I'm more queer than that person.
You're not. But I do think if you're trans, you're still queer in society.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where I land. You have gotten, like, Austin trans brain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it really is at the top of your head.
No, because
you immediately brought it up as soon as the podcast started.
No, because...
Austin trans brain, coined on the spot. The definition, essentially, you are so consumed by Austin comedy culture that you cannot go less than 10 minutes on a podcast without bringing up trans people, even when it has literally nothing to do with the conversation, the topic, or your life in any meaningful way. What made it hit so hard is that it gave a name to something a lot of people have been watching happen and couldn't quite articulate. When a scene becomes so focused on a single culture war target that it loses the ability to talk about anything else. That's not edgy comedy anymore, that's a fixation. And fixations aren't funny, they're just boring. The entire job, as Stavros has put it, is to be funny, not to be brave, not to be important, or be a defender of the Constitution. Just be funny. And the Austin orbit had stopped being funny and started being predictable. Predictable is where comedy goes to die.
That's my favorite thing about stand-up comedy now is people pretend we're deep. It's like, that's so stupid. Yeah. You need to be funny. The entire job is be funny. Right. There is not any other thing about it. It's the simplest art form on earth is make people laugh by any way you need to do it. Figure it out. But you don't got to make them think. It doesn't have to be fucking poignant. That's the thing. It's like their acts are mediocre at best. You exist against something and it's like, what do you have to say? Like all the people who talk about free speech, and I think you should be able to, I'm a huge free speech guy, obviously.
Right.
But you need something to say.
Yeah.
And you should be able to say the most offensive things for a reason, not just because you're bombing and if you say retard, it'll get a laugh. That's not a joke. Yeah. That's literally not a joke.
Here's what almost nobody acknowledges in this conversation. The backlash isn't fringe anymore. Marc Maron went off on the Austin scene in summer 2025. Bobby Lee joked that Rogan had taken half of LA's talent to Austin, and Shane, who is as closely associated with the Rogan world as anyone, started publicly insisting he's a Philly comic, not an Austin one. Even people inside the orbit are running from the label. A feature-length YouTube essay about the Rogan comedy scene from this channel called Elephant Graveyard hit 2.4 million views for something documentary length. And that's not a niche complaint anymore, that's a cultural moment. And here's the most interesting thing. Rogan himself, in a more recent episode of JRE, brought up the concept of having created a walled garden, a place where everyone inside is supporting each other and having fun while the people outside feel excluded and resentful.
The narrative is only with jealous people. It's not based on any reality. It's not based on people who go there and hang out. But I have a friend of mine who's, somewhat of a philosopher, an online friend. I don't even know what he looks like. We've been going back and forth for years. Mm-hmm. But he warned me about this a long time ago. He said, you've created a walled garden. And he goes, and you've got all these friends and you're all supporting each other and you're all having fun, but there's a lot of people that feel on the outside and they feel like left out of it. And so they're like, fuck those people, that party sucks. If you could find some connections to other negative things, like me and Tony, we have this connection to Trump, and so does Shane, and there's all sorts of that, fucking, you gotta be a right-winger to be, and then the narrative comes up, you gotta tell jokes about fucking trans people, you have to, you can't be a liberal, you can't be a this, you can't be like...
So he knows exactly what the dynamic looks like from the outside, which is his right, but it's also the clearest possible confirmation of what Stavros has been describing. So here's where we land. Stavros Halkias is not some outsider lobbing grenades at a scene he's never touched. He was in it, he was on the podcast, he performed at the club in its early days, he filmed a Netflix special in Austin, for fuck's sake. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and what he watched over a few years was this comedy scene gradually replace actual jokes with political loyalty tests and then call itself the last line of defense against tyranny. And the irony of the comedy mothership isn't that it exists. I mean, comedy clubs are great. The irony is that a venue with facial recognition at the door, phones in locked pouches, armed guards out front, and 2 showrooms named after nuclear bombs presented itself as this scrappy alternative to a controlling, surveilling mainstream, and then became the most surveyed and controlled space in American comedy. And Stavros didn't need any of that. This fat Greek kid from Baltimore who grew up in Greektown, whose father literally opposed his entire career, built a massive independent audience by, guess what, just being funny. And now he's in Venice and he's got Judd Apatow on the phone and he's filming a second Netflix special in his hometown. That's the bit. That is the punchline. So the most anti-establishment move in comedy right now isn't hiring retired Green Berets to watch the door. It's just being actually undeniably funny.